Hey guys, it's Mr. Co. I'm here to go over the lesson 2 concept development with you. For this concept development, you are going to need the practice sheet from your workbook. You can also find a copy of the practice sheet on the announcements page in our My Learning course. There should be an announcement that has the file for the lesson 1 and 2 practice pages, and you can print that out. So let's take a look at our I can statement. I can create conversion tables for length, weight, and capacity units using measurement tools and use tables to solve problems. So this is going to be very similar to our lesson 1. Lesson 1, we filled out some charts that were very similar to these, and we solved some conversion problems. So it's just going to be different units this time. Here we're investigating gallons, quarts, pints, and cups. So I'm going to be doing the same thing as the lesson 1 concept development video, where I'm going to use the Zern videos to kind of help us investigate the sizes of each unit. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
Hey Zernstar, can you tell how many quarts it takes to fill 1 gallon? To find out, watch as I fill the gallon with liquid using a 1 quart measure.
Okay, so if you watch that, how many times did it take her to use that 1 quart to fill it up to the gallon point? So how many quarts did it take to fill up to the 1 gallon? If you said 4 quarts, then you would be correct. You could even rewind the video and watch it again and see how it takes 4 of those quarts to make 1 full gallon. So if it takes 4 quarts to make 1 gallon, what unit holds more liquid? Is it going to be the gallon holds more liquid or the quart holds more liquid? Which unit is going to be able to hold the most liquid or more liquid? If you said gallon, then you would be correct, because you got to think, if this blue block represents 1 gallon and this red block represents 1 quart, the red quart, or the red block here, it takes up less space than the 1 gallon. You can also think it takes 4 quarts to make 1 gallon, so you need more of a smaller unit to make this bigger unit. All right, so let's go over to our chart and we can start filling that out. All right, so according to the video and what we investigated, we learned that how many quarts are in 1 gallon? We learned that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So then how many quarts would be in 2 gallons? If you said 8 quarts would be in 2 gallons, then you would be correct. Go ahead and pause the video to give yourself some time to fill out the rest of this conversion chart, and then maybe you can also figure out what is the rule for converting gallons to quarts. Okay, I'm guessing you are ready to go over filling out this chart. So we've got 4 quarts in 1 gallon, 8 quarts in 2 gallons, 12 quarts in 3 gallons, 16 quarts in 4 gallons, 20 quarts in 5 gallons, 24 quarts in 6 gallons, 28 quarts in 7 gallons, 32 quarts in 8 gallons, 36 quarts in 9 gallons, and 40 quarts in 10 gallons. So what is the rule for turning gallons into quarts? What is the rule for turning gallons into quarts? If you said that we take the number of gallons times 4, then you would be correct. So GAL, that's like our abbreviation for gallons, and then quarts would be QT. All right, so now I want us to think, how can we figure out how many quarts are in 13 gallons? How many quarts are in 13 gallons? You might remember some strategies that we used from lesson 1, and you can apply that here because we are doing the same thing. We're converting units. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure out how many quarts are in 13 gallons. All right, I think you're ready to go over the answer. So what we could do is we could follow our conversion rule. We could take the number of gallons, 13, and multiply it times 4. So 4 ones times 3 ones is 12 ones. 4 ones times that 1 10 in the tens place is 40. Add those together, and you get 52 quarts. We could also break it apart by doing, instead of 13 gallons, we can think of it as 10 gallons and then 3 gallons, and multiply those times 4. And then add them together. We still get those 52 quarts. It's the same thing kind of here, just different or more steps and broken apart a little bit more. So 13 gallons is equal to 52 quarts. All right, so what about 18 gallons and 3 quarts is equal to how many quarts? So this is a mixed unit. We have gallons and quarts, so we can't forget to add on the quarts we already have to whatever quarts we get from these 18 gallons. So go ahead and pause the video to give yourself some time to work and play it whenever you're ready to go over your answer. All right, so we can do the same thing that we did up here. We can follow our rule by taking our number of gallons, 18, and multiplying it times 4. We can do 8 ones times 4 ones, which is 32. 4 ones times this 110, which is 40. Add it all together, and we get 72. But then we would need to add on these 3 quarts that we already had to give us 75 quarts. We could have also broken apart 18 gallons into 10 gallons and 8 gallons and multiplied it that way. Not forgetting to add on the 3 quarts we already have to give us 75 quarts. Okay, so I think we are ready to investigate turning quarts into pints. I think we're ready to investigate quarts into pints, and we're gonna do the Zern video with that as well.
How many pints does it take to fill 1 quart? Let's find out. Watch as I fill this quart with liquid using a 1 pint measure.
All right, so how many pints did it take to fill that 1 quart? If you said 2, you would be correct. You could even rewind to watch her fill up that quart with 2 of those pint units. So which unit holds more liquid, quarts or pints? You'd be correct if you said quarts, because we can see that this quart, this red block here, is bigger than this green block that represents pints. And we also know that it takes 2 of these pints just to make 1 quart. Okay, so I think we are ready to go fill out that table. All right, so we learned from that, whoops. I disappeared for a second there. So we learned from the exercise and the demonstration that 1 quart is equal to, work with me here, is equal to 2 pints. So how many pints would be in 2 quarts? If you said 4, then you would be correct. So go ahead and pause the video to give yourself some time to fill out the rest of the chart, and then you can play it whenever you're ready to go over the answer. Maybe you can even start thinking about what is the rule for converting quarts to pints. All right, so let's go over filling out the rest of this chart. So 3 quarts is equal to 6 pints, 4 quarts is equal to 8 pints, 5 quarts is equal to 10 pints, 6 quarts is equal to 12, 7 quarts is equal to 14, 8 quarts is equal to 16, 9 quarts is equal to 18, and 10 quarts is equal to 20 pints. So our abbreviations for pint is going to be PT, and then we know from the previous example that QT is for quarts. All right, so now I think we're ready to do some conversion exercises using our chart here. Oh wait, sorry, we forgot to do the rule. What is the rule for converting quarts to pints? If you thought we are taking the number of quarts and multiplying it times 2, then you would be correct. All right, so back to those conversion exercises. I want you to solve for the number of pints in 13 quarts and 2 pints. So this is a mixed unit here, but I want everything just in pints. So the strategy that you use is probably going to be similar to the strategies that we've been talking about in the previous examples. If you need to rewind and see how we solve the previous ones just using this new rule, you can use that to kind of help you figure out how we're going to solve for this one. So go ahead and pause the video, play it whenever you're ready. All right, so similar strategies, we could just multiply right off the bat. We would be doing 13 quarts times 2 to give me 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times the 1 in the tens place is 20. Add that together, we get 26 quarts, and then we would just need to make sure to, 26 pints. We would need to make sure to add it on to the 2 pints we already have to give you 28 total pints. We can also break it apart. So we've got 10 quarts and then 3 quarts, and then we can multiply each of those times 2 to get our pints. Whoops, not quarts, pints. Don't forget to add on those 2 that we had up there. That's the thing with mixed units. We need to make sure that we are thinking of all the units that are given to us, or everything that is given to us. So same thing, 28 pints. All right. So based on what we know about quarts and gallons, what do we think when we see these 4 quarts here? Think about the relationship between quarts and gallons. I would want us to think that 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon. So if 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon, I'm going to put this down here. So if 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon, how many pints are equal to 1 gallon? If 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon, how many pints are in 1 gallon. If you said 8 pints, then you would be correct, because if there are 8 pints in 4 quarts, 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. They are all equal to each other. Oops. Keep on getting my units mixed up. Equals 8 pints. So based on that information there, I want you to try and solve for the number of pints in 2 gallons, 3 quarts. Really gonna test those math skills. So 2 gallons, 3 quarts is equal to how many pints? Okay, so pause the video, give yourself some time to solve, keeping in mind that we just said that 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts, which is equal to 8 pints. So that means that 1 gallon is equal to 8 pints. All right, so I'm guessing you are ready to go over the answer. So remember, we're trying to get everything in pints here. So we said that 1 gallon is equal to 8 pints. So that means 2 gallons are going to be equal to 16 pints. And then 3 quarts, we can use our table up here to see that 6 pints is equal to 3 quarts. Can also use our rule, 3 quarts times 2 gives us 6 pints. Add it all together. I'm gonna do that off to the side. And I get 22 pints total. So that is how we would solve for turning gallons into pints. I think we are ready to turn pints into cups.
How many cups does it take to fill 1 pint? Watch as I fill this pint with liquid using this 1 cup measure.
Okay, so how many cups does it take to fill that 1 pint? If you said 2, then you would be correct. So which unit holds more liquid, pints or cups? If you said pints, then you would be correct, because it takes 2 cups to hold 1 pint. And we can also see that the block here is bigger than what is represented by the cup. Okay, so I think we are ready to fill out that chart. All right, so from the video, we learned that 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. So how many cups are in 2 pints? If you said 4, then you would be correct. So go ahead and fill out the rest of the chart, and pause the video to do so, and then play it whenever you're ready. Okay, so I'm guessing you are ready to go over it. So 2 cups is equal to 1 pint, 4 cups is equal to 2 pints, 6 cups is equal to 3 pints, 8 cups is equal to 4 pints, 10 cups is equal to 5 pints, 12 cups is equal to 6 pints, 14 cups is equal to 7 pints, 16 is equal to 8 pints, 18 cups is equal to 9 pints, and then 20 cups is equal to 10 pints. So our abbreviations for pints is PT, and then cups is just a C. All right, so I want us to take a look at the 2 pints. 2 pints. So what do we know about our relationship between pints and quarts? What do we know about our relationship between pints and quarts? I would hope that we recognize that 2 pints is equal to 1 quart. So I encourage you to write that off to the side. So that means that if 1 quart is equal to 2 pints, how many cups are in 1 quart? How many cups are in 1 quart? You would be correct if you said 4, because if 1 quart is equal to 2 pints and 2 pints is equal to 4 cups, 1 quart is equal to 4 cups. Oh, I should probably just, whoops, that should not be there. All right. So we didn't write this down, I just noticed. The rule for converting pints to cups is to multiply the number of pints times 2, and that will give you your amount in cups. Now, what about a conversion rule for turning quarts into cups? What about a rule for turning quarts into cups? So as you can see, I can kind of just, I added this part here. So what is the rule for converting quarts to cups? I gave you a lot of think time on that one. So converting quarts to cups, we would take the number of quarts and multiply that times 4, because you got to think, if we took 1 quart times 4, that does give us those 4 cups. So using that information there, how would we figure out how many cups are in 3 quarts, 1 pint? 3 quarts, 1 pint equals how many cups? So this is keeping in mind that we just figured out that the rule for converting quarts to cups is taking the number of quarts and multiplying it times 4, and that will give you your cups. Turning quarts to cups. So go ahead and pause the video, give yourself some time to work. All right, so we are ready to go over the answer. So this is going to kind of take a couple steps. So first we got to turn, sorry, no, it's not going to take a couple steps. We're going to take these 3 quarts and turning it into cups by multiplying times 4. And that will give me 12 cups, but then I need to turn this 1 pint into cups as well, where I'm going to use this conversion right here, because here, this is our rule for turning pints to cups. We have pints, we're trying to turn into cups, so we're going to do that by multiplying times 2, and that's going to give me 2 cups. Add these 2 together, and all together I get 14 cups. Okay, so I'm going to give you one more, and then we're going to be almost done. So this one's going to be kind of more of a tricky one. So I want you to figure out how many cups are in 1 gallon. Now, we did not come up with a conversion for gallons to cups. So you're going to need to kind of think about the relationships that we've talked about. We've talked about how many cups are in a quart. And in the previous example, we talked about how many quarts are in a gallon. So you might need to rewind and go and see how many quarts are equal to 1 gallon, because then we'll be able to figure out if we know how many cups are in a quart, we should be able to figure out how many, and we know how many quarts are in a gallon, we should be able to figure out how many cups are in a gallon. So go ahead and pause the video, maybe rewind to the previous examples and, the previous chart, and use that to help you solve. All right, so we talked about how in 1 quart there are 4 cups. And if you rewound the video and went back to the previous table, we said that 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. So we're going to take these 4 cups, multiply it, because if 4 cups are in 1 quart and we've got 4 quarts, we're going to multiply these 4 cups times 4, and that is going to give me 16 cups in 1 gallon. All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to finish these number sentences on the practice sheet. So go ahead and think, okay, how many pints are in 1 gallon? How many cups are in 1 quart? How many cups are in 1 gallon? You might need to rewind the video to kind of help you out, or just review your notes because you do have that practice sheet in front of you. And go ahead and pause video and then play it whenever you're ready to go over the answers. All right, so here we have, we had said that 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. So if one quart is equal to 2 pints, and we know that 4 quarts are in 1 gallon, so that means that 4 quarts is equal to 8 pints, because if we follow that rule of taking the number of quarts and multiplying it, we actually would be coming up with like a new rule that we haven't talked about, which is turning pints into quarts. So if turning quarts into pints. If 1 quart is equal to 2 pints, then our rule is to multiply times 2. So if we've got 4 quarts, we would multiply that by times 2 to give us our 8 pints. So so we say that 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts, which is equal to 8 pints. So right here, we've got 1 gallon is equal to 8 pints. Now, the 1 quart is equal to how many cups? Well, we had talked about how 1 quart, which is equal to 2 pints, there are 2 cups in 1 pint. So 2 pints, there are 4 cups. And then the gallon, we just figured that out. We've got 16 cups in 1 gallon. All right, so that is all for this concept development video. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and I hope you guys found this informative. I know these videos, these past few ones, have kind of been long, but I'm sure that they're worth it, and it's going to help you a lot more in being able to do that problem set on your own. And if you need some extra practice, because maybe the problem set is still confusing, you could always go and do those Zern lessons, because those are also great extra practice. It does follow along closely with what we did here, so it's kind of just getting that extra practice in. All right, well, thank you so much, guys. I hope you're doing well, and until next time, bye.